Hey, everybody.
Hey, Charles.
Good afternoon.
How we all doing today?
Okay.
All right. Anything interesting happening in the world today? For any of you?
Yeah, we're having a catastrophe here at my complex. One of the sewer pipes has somehow burst, or I don't know what happened to it. But anyway, we are on limited water use.
Oh, that sounds like such fun.
It certainly does.
Yeah. And how long is that supposed to last?
Supposedly a couple of days.
Hmm.
So we shall see. It's an old place, and the plumbing and the electrical, everything is,
They should put you up somewhere for a couple days.
yeah, right. Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, actually, if it got bad enough,
Right.
somebody could call the health department, and that would force them to
Yeah.
put you up for a couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah, if they can't
So
provide.
right now they're saying limited use of water, so there's a little bit of, not as
Mhm.
much to it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if it got to the point where nothing was working and
Right. Yeah, right, correct.
everything was backing up, then you just call the health department.
Right.
So.
Thank you.
It can be a mess.
Yes, it can. But hey, life is that way. It gives us
It
these
certainly is.
little challenges here.
Yes, just when you think things are going smoothly, the wrench gets thrown into the wheel. It works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've got a little project going on here in Smyrna. We're having a friend of Maria's move in with us. And so there's going to be 3 of us here now. And we're having some work done on the house. They're putting in a new entry door and a deck in the lower level so she can get in and out without having to come through the main house.
Wow, pretty nice.
Yeah. But yeah, they started that yesterday. And, it's like anything else. It's just
Inconvenience.
a bit. I mean, they came, they did part of it, and then they left everything everywhere and just walked off. And they were supposed to be back today, and we haven't seen them. So,
Oh, no. Okay.
yeah, that seems to be the
Yeah,
trend.
that's what I'm experiencing on the other side of my place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right on 285 along where the sound barrier wall is.
Okay.
And they have to put up a new directional sign for the Roswell Road exit. So they removed part of the sound barrier on Friday at noon and said it would be done by Saturday. Well, nobody's come back since Friday noon.
Right. Yes.
Same difference.
Yes. Yes. Well, welcome to,
Yeah.
I mean, I used to do like construction projects for folks, and I would just warn them, it's like, I tried to give them a fairly accurate estimate, but I always told them, it's like, the way construction works is it always ends up either being 3 times longer than you think it would take or 3 times more expensive.
Yep.
Yeah.
You remember a movie called The Money Pit?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've experienced that too many times in life. Anyway, so let's I guess let's get busy. Let's see. So who's here? Eloise is here. Hi, Eloise.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
How you doing?
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. And then Bob and John and of course Susan. So, all right. Well, let's jump into this. And let's see what we got here. So, Yeah, that's no, that's not the one we're going to share. Yeah, what's going on here? Okay, so let's do a share screen. There we go. There we go. Okay. Everybody see, it looks like a lined piece of paper.
Yep.
Okay. So Bob,
Yes. This is Bob's messing around stuff.
okay. And you know, actually it's a perfectly good exercise. Now, did you intend her to be horizontal or did you intend her to be vertical?
Well, it was one of the old models that you provided a while back. I don't know, it's been probably cut. And I just took her. She was actually sitting on the edge of a chair, and
Oh.
but I just wanted her just plain. So.
Mm-hmm. So
Anyway,
then we should probably be viewing her more like that.
there you go.
Okay, that was my question. All right. So, all right. So what you're doing is you're making a series of horizontal lines, and then when they come to the figure, you're taking them and you're following the contours of the form. Is that correct?
That's the idea.
That's the basic idea. Okay. All right. It's a good idea. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that idea at all. I will, you know, in looking at this, I would encourage you to try to make the curves around her form more extreme.
Okay.
Okay. The only ones that should be fairly, you know, shallow or close to flat are the ones that are at our eye level. Okay.
This one is a learning experience. These are just test runs.
Right. But you know, again, yeah, if they're going to be test runs, you know, or experiments or things like that, you know, try to push it, you know, to be a little more extreme, kind of see what
Okay.
okay. And then I love this one. You know,
This is the impossible star.
okay.
You can do this in 2-dimensional, but it can't be done in 3-dimensional.
And why can it not be done in 3 dimensions?
Because you look at the angles, it can't happen.
Can't happen.
It's an Escher kind of a
Escher, yeah, type thing.
Escher rather kind of a phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I was about to say, you could probably actually get away with making something like that in clay.
What about the sides? It seems the dark sides switch when they cross over one of the other angles. Why
Yeah.
can't you keep them the same color? Won't that change, alter something?
Well, yeah, it's like which plane is lit up, and he's darkened, you know, on purpose. He's darkened down all the side planes, and I don't know that that has anything to do with the actual light or shadow. It may, but you know. But yeah, I would probably. So, I mean, that's what makes me kind of think of it as being made out of wood, or something like that. So you're seeing, you know, the edge grain is darker than the surface grain. So
This is a mind teaser for perspective drawing.
yes, yeah, and it's a fun one. I'm just wondering about what you said, whether it's you know, just something.
Everything I've read about this is what they say. They call it the impossible star, and
Okay. And that's what it's called, is the impossible star.
yes, it is.
Okay, you have to look that one up. And do you know who came up with this idea?
I do not.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to find that out. Could be fun. All right. It's an interesting graphic though, and I'd like
If you look at on YouTube at 3D drawing,
Mhm.
you'll see all kinds of this stuff out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I'd like to see you play with that some more though. And see what else you can do with it. So, all right. And then last, well, it's not last, okay, but your last drawing is we've got the lilies.
Mhm.
And I like the way you handled that, Bob. It's nice.
Looks good, Bob.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, you stayed with, hatching and, just building value. And yeah, okay. That worked out really pretty well.
Is that a fine point pen?
Yeah, I've got a set of fine points that one of them is I don't know, something M. But Molotow black liners, and then the Pigma black liners.
All right. So did you use different weight pens, or did you kind of stay
Yes.
with one?
Oh yes. Used everything from 0.9 down to 0.005.
Okay. Yeah, it works nicely. Okay. You got some stipple in there. You got, mainly either like cross hatching or contour hatching going on. Yeah. Okay. But where it really works is when you back up a little bit. Well, let's go the other way. Okay. And it really kind of comes together really nicely. So
Thank you.
good job. Good work. And then this is Heritage Park. Where
Well, that
we
looks
will-
good.
Yes, where we will be on Thursday of this week. Okay. Did everybody get my email about going to Heritage Park?
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And so everybody knows that the brush lady is going to be there.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
She gonna be in the upper parking lot or down below?
No, she's gonna be down in the lower part where we are.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. There's a possibility of rain, as always this time of year. So she's going to come down to the bottom, and I'm going to help her set up a table under the gazebo, and that way she'll be covered in case it starts pouring down rain. And
I will be.
pardon?
I was gonna say I will be glad to see her.
Good, because I'm going to be glad to see her too. But just beyond being able to see her, the conversation between she and I has been, she might actually hang out and paint with us for a little while.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, Anita's,
She's an international artist.
an international. I don't know about the international part, but maybe. I know she's very artistic, and I know she produces a lot of work.
Yeah, she's done work in other places. I think I read something about a bio or something about her online.
Yeah, she's, like I said, she's a really kind of fun, interesting lady. So, okay, so it's done, right?
I think, yeah, I pushed the fireplace back, or
Mhm.
the chimney rather.
Yeah.
back, using some greenery in the
Right.
bottom.
Yeah.
And then,
And see, now all of a sudden, it's like now that house and the fireplace sit back away from us, right?
and I added a little bit of height to the top of the chimney as well.
Yeah,
So it doesn't look like it's,
yeah, up above the point of the roof. Yeah, but it looks good,
It does.
So again, good work on that.
Yeah.
One thing I want to kind of point out, it's really kind of, if you're going to do architecture, and this drives people crazy all the time, but it's these little, styles and rails in windows, and also like, on railing and stuff like that. That always drives people crazy. And,
Mhm.
there's different ways that you can approach it. One way is that you can put in the background and then come back in with like a darker gray, and then paint in the position of those stiles and rails, and then let that dry, come back in with a white on top of it, just leaving, just a little hairline. More on the bottom than on the top most of the time, to indicate the shadow. And you can actually get them to feel kind of three-dimensional that way. But
Okay.
that's a lot of meticulous work. Another way of doing windows is, I'll take a pencil and I'll just grid off my spacing for those little white stiles. And then with a small brush, I'll just, it will be either a light gray or, near white. And then I'll just paint in the little blocks of glass, putting different color in it, so I might start dark at the top and then work my way to blue or green at the bottom, so it looks like glass that's reflecting, things from the outside. But yeah, stuff like that it can be time consuming, and and not a lot of fun, particularly if it's like really small,
Mhm.
pieces of architecture and things. So a lot of times I just leave a lot of that stuff out, because I just can indicate with a gray brush stroke or whatever inside of a white block, and it just gives the idea of there's a door or a window or something there. Keep it simple. So, all right. Eloise,
Yes.
let's take a look at your painting here. Actually, let's save your painting, okay, for just a minute. Okay, I want to look at your flower first. Okay, and so you, same lily, right? And you did more of them, right? And you were using, I guess, graphite. Is that correct?
Yes, right.
Okay. And again, you're trying to do the hatching thing, and that's fine, because that's what we were trying to do. When you got into the areas that were darker, you sort of began to fill in areas and things like that. And if you would have, kept them a little more along the line of that, they probably would have held together better as a drawing. The other thing I want to mention to you is your outlines on the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
They're real consistent, and you might want to vary them more. Again, it's like each part of that flower, as you look at it, it's like ask yourself the question. It's like, okay, where's the light? Where's the shadow? If the shadow side is over to the right side, then make that edge darker and bolder. If the left side is in the light, then thinner and lighter, right? But varying those line weights will tell you a lot about the direction of the light and where to kind of expect to see it, okay?
This picture was driving me loco, and I got so frustrated. I just outlined everything, because at first you will see on the right hand side where I started making the background dark as it appears in the picture, but that wasn't working, so I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know you said something, I got in late, and I know you said something about cross hatching, so I decided to stick some of that in there. And those flowers are just they were just, I don't know, they just, nothing seemed to work right there for me, so I was just glad to finish up and get it in.
Well, just,
You know their flowers.
yes.
Good.
Yes, they're flowers. Okay, and the reason that I had you guys do that was that it was supposed to be kind of a brain tease. And
Sure was.
yes, and in looking at it, one of the things that you had to figure out if you were going to draw that somewhat, representational, was how is it that you're going to get any one of those petals to feel like it's either moving forward or backward, away from you, right, or toward you. And to do that, you could use the hatching to sort of indicate the angle as it's moving and bending around. The other thing that you could do is you could push and distort the shapes a little bit more than maybe you thought you were seeing them, to emphasize the fact that something's coming forward or backward. So it's a fun drawing exercise, and I would encourage you, okay? You got the image from me, is that correct?
I guess I was so tired of trying to struggle with it. I didn't even look for it. I sent this in before the class was over.
No. I Friday, I had sent out the images.
Yes, I got them.
Yeah, with some of the samples that we had looked at, for cross-hatching and stuff, or hatching in general.
Oh, okay. I saw them, but I didn't open the messages.
Okay, yeah. Well, here's again, I'm not saying that you have to do anything with that, but just so that you have some time to figure this out, and that you can kind of learn how to play with stuff like this. I would open up that image again and I would try to redraw it, but you don't have to draw everything. Just draw one, or maybe like one or two of the flowers. That's all you really need. You don't have to do the whole thing.
Okay.
And really play with like one of those flowers and try to distort the shapes and things, and use the hatching to sort of move across the contour, the shape of the petal, so that it visually, it sort of gives us the idea of, oh, okay, that's not a flat surface across that petal. It's kind of dipped in, or it's curved, or curled in some way.
Okay.
You following me?
Yes.
Yeah, but just play with that, because if you can get that down, then you can do the same thing with a human figure or a piece of fruit, or a glass, or any object that you want to draw. That's a good way of connecting with the viewer, that idea that this is a three-dimensional form, not just a flat shape. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about your painting. And Eloise,
I need to switch devices. I'm on my phone because I couldn't get this computer to cooperate. So now I'm going to try to join with the computer.
Okay. All right. We'll wait for you.
Thank you for waiting.
Not a problem. Okay. All right. So here's your painting. This is from Cascade, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you've been working to try to learn about landscape and how to paint landscape now for, I guess, a good, 6 or 8 months now? At least. Coming out and painting with us?
Oh, no, we started, I think in, I don't know, April.
Okay. All right. So yeah, April, May, June, July. Okay, 4 months. All right. And during that time, okay, you and I have had, conversations about how you could go about creating this illusion of depth and layers. One thing.
Oh, yes. It looks like I forgot, right?
Well, no, I could see where you were headed that direction. But then, yeah, you kind of got caught up in a couple of instances here, like the rocks in particular. Where did my cursor go? There we go. And what I was going to say to you is, okay, so your color and value and intensity of this rock is almost equal to these down here.
Right.
And again, and we keep having that conversation about if you've got something that's either in the middle ground or the background, it might be a similar color, right? But it's got to change in some way. Even if it were the exact same color when you walked up to it, you know, when you're away, you know, back where you are painting from, it's got to appear different because it's not as close to you. And the atmospheric perspective, the distance and the light is going to modify that and the way you see it. So it's like if you left all of this alone, but then you took and you either cooled off the temperature a little bit and maybe lightened it in value and made it a little more kind of neutral and gray, these would go back, right? We would still read them as similar objects. We know they're rocks, but they would look like rocks that were further away from us, right? Where these would look closer to it. And, you know, there's always this little subtle thing about doing landscape of pushing and pulling. You know, how do I push things back? How do I pull things forward? You know, so that, you know, I have a painting that feels three-dimensional, you know, even though we know it's not. And so I wanted to remind you of, remember I did this little study based off of,
Yes.
you know, a painting that you had done before.
Mhm.
We talked about either like unifying like the background in you know, in hue, right, color family, or playing with values or intensity to begin to let that background sit back and then the middle ground and the foreground come forward, right?
Yes.
Right. And so here's two examples, you know, one where I made the background warmer in temperature and the other where I made it, you know, cooler in temperature. And, you know, again, it sits back in the background. We know that there's something back there, but then that lets everything else in the middle ground and foreground move forward and feel closer to us, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Now we're not done, okay? But I'm going to share, and this, you know, this applies to everyone. Okay. Does everybody see a Japanese print?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna talk, you know, we're gonna get off the beaten path just a little bit, okay? But so even in like a Japanese print like this, right, which tends to be very graphic, and this artist is working with, you know, slight gradations and fairly flat colors, right? And look at how they handle the water, for example. See, the more intense blue and the brighter color is really, you can almost draw a line, you know, and from halfway down, the color is generally more intense. And from that halfway point back, generally the color is softer and more muted. Okay. All of these mountains are, you know, just pushed back into values of gray. This tree or the tree branches that are closest to us, again, you know, are pretty intense in color compared to everything else. The kimonos, all the red, and purple, and anything really clear to pure color is still in the foreground, foreground and middle ground. The only exception to that is this skyline, right? And that orange that goes across. Because I'm going to say it's a morning sort of scene. Okay. But again, how you manage color makes a huge difference. Here's another example, a little more traditional, oil painting, right? And look at how this artist pushed those tree lines back. And there's really not a lot going on in here. It seems at first to be a fairly simple, almost kind of empty painting, right? And then you really start looking at it more carefully. And what you find is there's a lot of stuff going on in that snow, right? With the brushwork. And you notice how the blue, versus sort of the yellow and the orange, in some of these areas to the front really contrast each other quite a bit. And it's not a huge change in value, but it's that using direct complements, right? Blue, and the direct complement to blue is orange, right? And so by having that in the paint mixtures, the orange and the warmer colors, the blue and the cooler, it sets up that contrast and makes more contrast in the foreground than it does in the background. Okay. And as it goes back in distance, see, there's less and less distinction, between the color, and it becomes more unified and closer together. So even back in here, and of course, then he sort of obliterates any sort of edge or anything like that, and keeps it very, very soft back there. Again, pushing that much further back than even these trees in the middle. Okay. So, and then this is, I want to say it's Tony Mira is his name. He's a California painter. And I love his stuff, because he's really, really good at modifying color and really playing with the color and letting the colors in the foreground, be stronger, more intense, sharper edges, more value contrast. And then the things in the background, he begins to sort of let them, mash together a little bit, right?
That's almost like a poster art, though, isn't it? This one?
I'm sorry, what? It looks.
Isn't this sort of like a poster art? This particular?
No, I wouldn't.
It seems more like it to me. It's blocks, blocks of color, blocks of shapes.
Right.
So it seems more poster-like to me.
Okay. Well, he's certainly simplified it, and he does paint in these sort of simplified shapes and forms. But again, when you back up away from it, it all falls together and it's a landscape, right?
Yep.
Yeah. When you look at it more closely, see, these are just very simple, kind of broad paint strokes that all kind of fit together like a mosaic to make, a landscape. Okay. Here's another example. Now, this artist, he did something a little bit different, right? He's not making his trees and things in the background green. Again, what he did is he changed the hue, the color family. And a lot of these trees back here, he kind of put into this purple, which is a cooler temperature color than the greens, to let the greens and everything come forward. And then, keep all of this in the background. And even when he did use a green back there, see how he muted it down so that it really does sit back. And again, you know, all the other color in the painting in, say, the middle ground and foreground gets a bit more intense, right? So there's lots of ways that you can handle that, okay? You know, here's another example. And look how, you know, how he pushed those houses and things back and the sky back behind it. And that the foreground feels like it's coming towards you, at you, right? And so in this case, he's playing more with temperature. See, temperature and value. So all of the cooler temperatures tend to be to the upper part of the canvas. All the warmer temperatures tend to be, you know, toward the bottom. Okay. And the tendency is that generally we think of cool colors receding, warm colors coming forward. Okay. So those are just a couple of examples that I want you to kind of think about. Does that make sense?
Yes, I will work on it. I noticed when I was trying to do that, the greenery in the back was almost invisible. So I guess I should not have made it so distinct. And the other things too, I will blur them a little bit, I guess.
Well, you could blur it, but the other thing is you could also cool it down.
Cool it down, okay.
Yeah, see, so it shifts more toward the blue or the violet, you know, and then your trees in the middle ground and the foreground, a little bit warmer. So, you know, to mix them, you're going to use maybe a little orange or a little yellow, right?
Okay.
You know, to raise the temperature of it so that they'll sit in front of what you put in the back.
What causes the paint to look like it's bleeding into the canvas, I guess? I was putting the darker paint on the canvas and I looked back at it and it looked like it was spreading in little streaks.
Mm-hmm. Is this on the back side of the canvas that is coming through?
No, it's on the front as I painted. The strokes seemed to, as if they were going down into the pores. Was it because I had put a base coat of on there and it was not smooth? And the colors were seeping in between the strokes or something, the brush strokes or something. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not quite following you.
Okay, I'll bring something and show you on Thursday.
Good. Yeah, that's probably a good thing. Now, if you're seeing what we call open or broken color, where you had a base color and then you went back over it and there's little bits of it showing through, that's actually a good thing. That's not a bad thing. You know, but yeah, I'm not really quite sure, you know.
When I put the other layers on top of it, it kind of hid it. So I'll see if I can find something that shows that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, if you enlarge, if you bring it in closer view, the middle part where that black is, you can see those strokes there. All of that. Is that because of the base coat that the primer I put on there or something?
Maybe. I mean, you got a lot of tooth, you know, to the surface of the canvas. It seems like, and so you're getting some of that in these areas where you're seeing, you know, where the brush strokes kind of went vertically with them.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sort of, but it looks, I guess, close up in person, it just looks a little bit finer than that.
Yeah.
Are you using oil or acrylic for your underpainting?
The acrylic, used an acrylic base for the primer.
Okay. Yeah, it might be, you know, it might be that with the acrylic, you know, you're laying in some pretty thick wet paint to prime it, and you're leaving a lot of those paint strokes, you know, in there to dry. You know, anytime you're priming a canvas, And, you know, it's probably better not to work in one direction.
Okay.
And usually when I'm priming canvas or I'm even putting down like a tone, you know, I might put a layer down in one direction and then I'll turn it, you know, like 30 or 45 degrees and then put a layer on and then turn it again and then do another layer. And then
Okay.
when all of that is, when I feel like I've got enough paint on there,
Mhm.
then I'll come back in with, you know, more or less a clean brush and I'll try to work in different directions, you know, and break it up so that I don't have, you know, any general like ridges and things moving vertically or horizontally alone. They, you know, they're broken up into smaller areas and move in different directions, and it's less distracting to the eye.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Maybe that's something I can show you guys on Thursday when we're out there. That would be a good lesson in itself.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'll bring some of that clear acrylic gesso with me, and we'll you know, stain a board, and then I'll build up some gesso on it, and then
All right.
paint
Thank
over it. Okay. All right. Mr. John,
Yes, sir.
you've been busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With this heat, I've got nothing else to do, so I paint.
Well, good. Good. That's a good thing to be doing.
I
Okay.
guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I mean, you've been doing a lot of things around the edge of water. You kind of like that theme, don't
I like the water reflections and things like that. Yeah.
you? Uh-huh. Okay. Boat docks and old
Right.
stuff like that. Okay. Have you ever painted boats?
Yeah, I've had several. I've done not as much this year, but last year I had quite a few boats, sailboats, all
Yeah, that's
in
true.
calm water, boat in calm water, docked, and yeah, I've done quite a few boats.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess the reason I'm kind of digging into this is when I was really young and when I was studying with Tony Manning, one of the other teachers that I studied with was a guy by the name of Milton Lenore. And Milton painted a lot of like New England boat docks and like old boat houses and things like that, you know, with like sailboats and things tied up to the dock.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it with in acrylic, and it was very stylized, kind of very graphic and very monochrome. You know, just real subtle little shifts of, you know, greens and blues and things that were really muted, and it had a nice feel to it. He had beautiful work. So, but yeah, this piece and some of the other pieces that we've done kind of remind me of that. So, yeah, I'll have to.
Yeah. Nice, John.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a friendly kind of a painting.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, you want to be out there with the folks, you know, walking around on the dunes and things back behind the boat.
Yep.
So, yeah, I've been wanting to get down to Florida, particularly like the Gulf Coast, to go find, you know, old boathouses and stuff, you know, that I can paint. Because I'm, you know, growing up around Monterey, you always had the wharf and, you know, all the piers and everything around there painted. You know, it'd be nice to go back. It's been years since I've done anything like that. So I need to take a vacation and go paint boat docks. So anyway, but yeah, this is a really nice piece. And it's good to see, you know, you working, you know.
Yes, thank you.
In doing stuff. Yeah. And then of course, you know, we have this face. Okay.
Right.
Now,
I was trying to do some of the things that we saw in yesterday's demonstrations of the way the paint was not really blended, but I didn't quite get that effect.
Okay. And what did you use for reference for this? I mean,
I had a picture. There was a picture online.
okay. And this is, I'm guessing this is a woman.
An old lady, right?
Okay.
And some
Yeah.
kind of headscarves.
Right. Yeah. She looks like she's probably in Central Asia or the Middle East somewhere.
That's what I would think.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I like the color. I like, most of your skin tones, things like that all kind of work pretty well. And it's a nice little study. So, and I also like the fact that you took the time to put that kind of blue wash in the background. Just
Yeah.
just to sort of knock down the tone of the paper.
Right.
So that the warmth of the skin tone, move forward and
Right.
came out. So, yeah. Good work on that one.
Oh, thank you.
And then, of course, it's Christmas in July.
Christmas in July.
Yes. I mean, John's getting eager here.
Right.
So now, is this going to be one of your Christmas cards?
Could be. I'll see. Right. That's what I'm thinking. Get a couple done early that I can maybe do a Christmas card in time.
There you go. See?
Not wait to do a watercolor in December 5th to want to make it a Christmas card.
Right. Yeah. That's always a good idea, to be a little preemptive and get stuff done early enough so you can get it reproduced, all that. If you did a Christmas card, how would you go about doing it?
How would I do it?
Yeah, let's say, okay. I mean, would you give?
I'm thinking I could take it over to Kinko's
Mhm.
and have them reproduce it on cardstock that they do have, like folded card, note card type paper and
Right.
things. That's what I was thinking. Because I only would want about a dozen or so. I wouldn't want that many.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, because I was going to say, if you want to send out a couple of dozen, something like that, you can go either to Kinko's or Walmart and have them scan it, and then have them put it on a page layout for you,
Right.
and
Right.
run that.
Yeah.
And it comes out just like, a regular card. And in fact, you can put a little signature block on the back side of the card so that people know who it's from. And,
Right.
when it-
Yeah, that's the idea I was thinking of.
Okay.
You can also do that on your computer.
Well, yeah, if you've got,
Yeah, but it's the printing of it, of the cardstock.
Yeah, cardstock, you can print it. I have printed them on cardstock
Right.
Yeah.
from Word, yeah.
well, if you've got a pretty decent printer, a color printer, yeah, you can actually make, your own prints at home. And in fact, some artists spend a little bit more on the printers and get something, a printer that you can put in inks that are archival, and you can do your own giclées at home.
I'll just send it over to you, Eloise.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Right, take it to Kinko's, Walmart or somewhere.
come on, Eloise, help us out.
No, that was a long time ago.
All right. But okay. Well, hopefully I'll get a Christmas card from you this year.
Okay.
Yeah. You can also send them out digitally, you know that, right?
Right.
Right.
That's what I did last year, was on digital.
Yeah, that way you don't have to deal with the printing at all.
Correct. Right.
Yeah. Set up your email list, push the button, away.
Right. Right.
All right. So let's talk about your flower. flowers. Okay.
Yes,
confused.
and you know, when you were talking to Eloise about hers, to me, the graphite is very difficult to get the, I guess it's the intensities and the variances. I don't know, I have, to me, if it was painted, it might be easier
Yes.
than.
Well, yes, there are certain advantages to paint in the fact that you can make gradations and values and things
Right.
like that, where using graphite or pen, you have to kind of slow down and be a little more careful.
And I think Bob did a great job with the pen. That was,
Uh-huh.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
so.
Thank you.
Now, the key with the pencil is to try to avoid using cross-hatching and then mixing it together with what we call laying in mass and tone. Okay, the two, they just don't play nicely together. Okay, and so you either want to keep it all, hatching, or you want to do it as mass and tone, but you don't want to do both. Not on the same drawing.
okay.
So if you keep it very lineal and, work with your hatching, and you'll have to sharpen your pencil a lot to keep a nice fine point on it. You can really make some very, very nice hatch drawings, out of either color pencil or any kind of, drawing medium.
Well, I tried to stay more with just the line rather than crosshatch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, a lot of what I'm looking at here, it looks like what you're doing, the technical name for it is contour hatching.
Oh, okay.
So you're following, so you're using your line, but you're trying to indicate the direction.
Right, correct,
Of
yeah.
that area of the petal. Right. And then when you get to a different area, you're changing your direction because
Yes.
And that's called contour hatching.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
You're saying contour hatching?
Hatching, yes. Yes, Hatching.
When I was thinking hatching, I was thinking cross hatching.
Well, there's cross hatching, there's contour hatching, right? And so, it's similar, but they have very different effects. See, we're cross hatching, and one of the dangers with cross hatching is that you can really flatten the shape out. And particularly if you do cross hatching that turns and at 90 degrees to each other, it will just flatten the whole drawing out. If you change the angles, right, and instead of doing like a 90 degree, and then a 180 degree,
Right, yep.
you did say a 90 degree, and then you did maybe a 75 degree.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it kind of falls into that category of more contour than cross hatching at that point, because you can describe form. You can move things in the direction that plane is moving in. Okay? And really, I mean, the only thing I would say to you about what I would, like to see you do differently in this particular drawing is you've used like the hatching here, but again, when you moved over to the other side of the leaf, you kind of went back into trying to make tone rather than hatching.
Right, that's true.
Yeah. And, again, other than just resisting that urge to lay the pencil to the side and lay in a tone,
Uh-huh.
yeah, build it up with that hatching, and again, keep it, pretty much so contour hatching, so that those lines move in the direction of the plane of that leaf, or that
Mhm.
side of the leaf,
Correct.
or petal, I should say. Okay.
Yep.
don't want to beat that one to death. All right, and then oh, we have Rebecca. Is Rebecca here? She
No.
may not be.
No.
Yeah, I think she said that she was taking her husband to a doctor's appointment. Anyway, let's take a look at this more closely. Rebecca is one of these people who are perpetually busy as well. Okay, so you see she used some contour hatching, like on the leaf.
Right.
Where are we? I'm trying to find, there it is. Yeah, like right in here. And then in other places, you know, she kind of built it up by using what we call stipple, right?
Yep.
Where you're just making little dots.
Right.
And again, you know, the way she drew the actual shapes of the petals and things, you know, she sort of distorted them a little bit, but, you know, to good effect. You know, they don't feel flat. They feel a little more three-dimensional. And about the only suggestion that I would make to her, if she were here, is just like with Eloise and several of the rest of you, finding the shape, you know, for the petal. Look for a shadow side, look for a light side. On the shadow side, the line can be a little heavier and thicker. On the light side, it's going to be lighter, okay?
Yeah.
And that will make each of these look a little more three-dimensional if you can vary that line rather than having just a...
Yeah, her lines are all equal.
Yeah, right. Okay. This is some eyes and noses and things that she's been working on in her sketchbook. Yeah. And I love to look at her sketchbook because it reminds me so much of like Leonardo da Vinci's sketchbooks. You know, where there's lots of little illustrations and then there's these little notes kind of in between the drawings, things like that. So, yeah, it's a nice effect. And, okay, we got to wait for Susan. She had to take a phone call, I guess. All right, but good work, John. I'm glad to see you making it.
I like the way your reflections of that building, the sea scene.
Ah,
I like the way your reflections of the building and that sea scene were seen in the water.
Yeah, how you picked up the color in the water, the reflection of it. Yeah, yeah, it works really nicely.
thank you.
All right, Susan, you back with us?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry. I don't
That's
know.
okay.
These calls come in. I can't get the phone to answer either, so I'm kind of stuck.
Okay,
Makes
all right.
sense. Okay.
So let's jump in and look at yours. So you're trying to draw a little sleeping dog, little puppy.
The puppy, yeah, an 8-week-old puppy. But
And I take it that you know this puppy, right?
yeah, I did.
Okay.
I was going through some old. This is an old picture. It's probably about 17 years. I mean, the picture's not old, but the puppy is gone now. She died about 2 years ago, but she was almost 15. But
Okay.
I'm going through stuff and I found this picture of her, so I just kind of want to do something with it.
Yeah.
Like it.
All right.
But-
And was she a Jack Russell or what was she?
She was a part tree climbing coonhound and part lamp.
Oh,
But, yeah.
okay. So she was actually a pretty good sized dog.
She was about 35, 40 pounds.
Yeah.
But not when she was a puppy. She was
No.
small then. But
No, at that size, she's very comfortable to have sitting in your lap. At 35, 40 pounds, not so much.
Right.
Yeah.
well,
All
she liked to be comforted too. I mean, she liked to
Mhm.
cuddle too.
Yeah.
Even when she was bigger. But,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that whole get in your lap thing, yeah, that doesn't work for a dog that size. You know. At
Right.
least not for me. I wouldn't want a dog that big in my lap. So what I was going to say to you about this is, okay, so you've got a good concept, a good idea there. It's a matter of values, right? And it's like,
Okay, and I tried to do some cross hatching in there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of
Right.
blurs in the pictures I take.
Yeah, and you did. You laid in. See, you laid in your pencil lines almost vertically, and then you kind of angled them, not quite at 90 degrees, right? And so, all I was going to say to you is, again, it's about value. So you got the idea of the cross hatching. Now, I would have gone back into areas like right over the eyes or something like that, with maybe another layer, and so that, again, you get a range of value across here that all kind of falls into that dark value range.
I can go back over. I can still do some of it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and keep building on it until you begin to get that head feeling like it's a little more round and three-dimensional, right? Because as you laid in the hatching, see, you kept it kind of the same here, here, and here. And the value and stuff doesn't really change. And that kind of makes a flatter shape, right? We want to try to begin to make a rounder shape.
Okay.
All right. And
Yes.
and hatching would be a good way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to build it up a little bit. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And then we got flowers, right? The lilies.
And I tried to do cross hatching in that too, but you can't really tell in that picture, can you?
Well, you can a little bit. And
I had blunter points that I should have had when I was doing this.
Yeah,
So,
being able to work with a sharper pencil so you can make some.
Yeah, I heard you say that a bit ago. So yeah. Okay.
But you got the idea, and in a way, I mean, I like what you did. I like the color, and it's very soft. It kind of reminds me of some of the botanical studies and things that they did back like in the 1800s. And particularly like a lot of women, it was kind of part of their craft training to do like botanical studies and things, either in watercolor or, some fast drying paint like gouache, or tempera. And it just has that feel to it because, the color is so soft on it. So.
Okay, thank you.
And then we have
Yeah,
so
I sent my textures in. I don't know if you can see them there. It's very good, but I didn't know how many I was drawing.
Well, they're a bit of a challenge to see, because they are very small. But when you blow them up, you begin to get the idea, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And it's good. I mean, I appreciate the fact you sent them in. I wish other people had done the same. Yeah, because again, this is kind of it's one of the things of how far can you push your brain, to come up with all these different textures, right? And sometimes just experimenting with how to make stipple textures or how to make patch textures and values can be a really, really good exercise. And it's something that you'll have in your bag of tricks that you can pull out at any time you need it. So, all right. So let's see. Other than that, well, where's Eloise? She left. I put this picture of this is Cascade. This is where we were painting from the other day. And, you know, what I was talking about with her, and really a couple of the others of you, is if you look at this very carefully, you know, it's very easy to say, okay, well, you know, the whole upper third of this image is green, right? But you really start looking at the variety of value and the size relationships and the patterns that those greens make, right? And you begin to see that, okay, you know, you can begin to see some pushing and pulling going on there. Like, for example, the leaves in here seem to be the closest to us right now, right? And why is that? They're a similar color to everything else around them, but they have a sharper edge, you know, so it makes kind of a cleaner, more defined shape. They tend to be generally lighter in value, and then everything else underneath them and back behind them is moving into at least a middle value, if not a dark value, right? So it helps push those forward. Now, as you go up a little bit, okay, that's not going to work. As you go back a little bit, you can begin to see more variations, right? So this is lighter and all of the shapes are sharper. It gets a little bit cooler in temperature right in here. And then it gets a little bit cooler even than that back in here. And then once you get past this point, the greens all become fairly warm, don't they? There's more yellow in them, where there's more blue in these. So again, you know, playing with those little tiny shifts in either temperature, value, or, you know, how hard or soft the edges are, can really help you differentiate and create layers, right, as they move back. So just keep that in mind. So there's more rocks and water. Okay. So close up. This is up, you know, on the slope, on the hill, looking back toward the fall. And in this case, you can actually see through this tunnel out to the other side of it, and the road is up above here. This is Cascade Road up here, where you get to hear all the cars going by. Different angle, you know, that water fountain or the fall, right? And in this case, you know, you get the lower bit down here, and then you get the one that's further up the hill. And then let's see. Oh, okay, that's what we're looking at. All right. So that's Cascade. That's where we were.
I just sent you a couple of pieces on email that I'm just playing with. So if you got time, you want to see them, they're just fun things.
Okay. You mean like, do we have time like right now?
If you want, it's up to you.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see if I can go find them. Yes, Bob. Ah. You're trying to do more optical illusions.
They're fun. They're good practice in perspective.
Yes, they are. Let's see, so that's the desktop. And then go get the other one. Because you only sent two, right?
Yes, I did.
There you go.
I'm not as fast as you are, Charles.
No, that's fine. You know, I mean, it's. There we go. All right. So let me see if I can open those and then share them. All right. Anybody else?
That's the way mine was supposed to look.
What's the way yours is supposed to look? Oh, okay. The photo. Yeah. Yes, that would have been the way. That okay. So let's stop sharing. All right, and then I have to find Bob's 2 pieces that he just sent in.
In my mind's eye, all pictures, when I take a photograph of them, that's my mind's eye, that's the way they look on canvas.
Right. So Bob's going to entertain us with a couple of his optical illusions here. So, all right, so let's do a. Put you guys back on the screen and share. And, yeah. Ta-da! All right, everybody see a stairway leading into a brick wall?
Yep.
Yes? No?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I was sharing the right thing. Okay. All right. So you said that you did these while we were just here in class, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yes. So you see, we're keeping Bob highly engaged, you know, with our conversations here. But no, that's fun. You know, that's real fun. So you got a little opening in there. Then you've got the stairways leading in. I guess I would ask one thing. It's like, why is at this edge right here? I'm thinking this is a wall moving back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why is it lit on this side and in shadow back here?
It's backwards.
Backwards? Okay.
Yes. My
right.
hair.
No, I'm just asking. What
No, you're right. I mean, it should have been the other way around.
Well, or you could take this whole value and bring it all the way back to the edge of the steps.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. See, and then it would say that wall is, you know, turned away from us, you know, or away from the light equally. Okay.
What
Now,
if there's a light and it's shining like that?
well, there could be actually, but
The light from inside.
Yeah, but where would the light be coming from, Eloise?
Coming from the extreme right, because the steps also are light at the bottom. The whatever you call it, rising.
Coming from the extreme right?
Yeah, am I right?
Yeah, as we're viewing it the right side. Yeah, but if it were coming from the extreme right side, then the light would still, you'd be catching more light at the front of this opening than you would at the back. So it would get darker and then it would get lighter as it this way. Now I have a different scenario. What if the light were way down below and shining up?
Mm-hmm.
That's a possibility.
Right. Then you might get the light here, and you might get the light on the front of the steps without getting them on top.
That's what I was thinking, a bit like a spotlight or a flashlight where you'd see the front of the stairs, but part of the wall lit up like that.
Right. And so, you know, again, you know, that could be one of those illusions, you know, about where the lighting's coming from, and it's coming from the bottom rather than the way we would normally see it from the top down. So.
Well, it would make sense because this does not make sense. How brick steps into a brick wall.
Right, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a brain tease, you know, just something fun. Just like, you know, the letter E and peeling it off of a page, right?
Except it's a flat surface.
Yeah. So now, did you cut this out of the paper?
Up in the upper left
Yeah.
and across the top.
Right.
And so I mean, it's a flat piece of paper, the whole thing. It's
Yeah.
just the illusion that looks like the top of the E is coming off the paper.
Right. But yeah, so you cut along here, and then you left this, you know, silhouetted outside of it, right? And then you cut across. Okay. Yeah, because it adds to that optical illusion, you know, that the edge of the paper stopped, and so that this is getting closer to you as it's bending forward.
Then the shadow underneath the top arm of the E
Mm-hmm.
gets pushed back to make it look like it's pushed away from the paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it gets the idea across, and yeah. So that's kind of a fun illusion. You got me thinking, Bob.
Uh-oh.
I don't want to see that on Friday.
Well, I wasn't thinking about Friday. I might give you guys a homework assignment to come up, you know, with, you know, some kind of optical illusion, you know, and draw it or paint it or do whatever you want. But, you know, it has to be an illusion, not.
An invisible man standing in front of a blank wall.
Well, okay. So you know, if you want to be that's okay. You could do that. In fact, Magritte did that, but I think he was standing in front of a brick wall.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Okay. So all right. So let's go back. I'm going to share with you some of what I've been up to. And let's see. All right, so we're looking at Cascade. All right, let's go back. All right, so we got rained out last Thursday, and this is how I ended up spending my day. This was actually the still life that I brought with me, you know, out there, and you know, we were going to paint that. So this is it's about 11 inches tall by 22 inches wide. Okay. And it's on a wood panel that I had primed. And well, I didn't get those in there. But Wednesday, we'll probably talk tomorrow. We'll probably talk more about it because I'm going to take you through the process that I went through for, you know, preparing the panel, you know, and then how I kind of layered the paint from there.
You're going to explain to us how the process, or are you going to have us paint that picture?
Well, eventually, well, you know, I can't have you paint that exact picture now because I've already eaten the fruit. It's gone. Sorry. And the flowers have faded. But no, we're going to do a still life, you know, at some point.
But it will be from live objects, right? It won't be from a painting?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That would be the idea of doing a still life. You know, actually, you know, one of the things that we could do is we could all do a still life, but we do our own still life. You'd have to set up your own setup, and then you would have to light it and then paint it. You'd learn a lot doing that. So, but yeah, we'll talk more about that. I went drawing at the Marietta Cobb Museum of Art, and had one of my favorite models. Her name is Danny, very tall African American woman. These are 2 5-minute drawings. So, and she took this pose first. And so I put that down. And then she took a similar pose, moving the opposite direction. So I just put it behind, again, giving you the illusion of one figure standing in front of the other. This was a 20-minute drawing. And then this was a 30-minute drawing. And all of these are in a pad of this gray Me Tins paper. And it's just with colored pencil. And so, I was using some kind of dark neutral and then white, to just highlight it on the gray. And it was kind of a, fun thing to do. But, and then, I don't know, I think I've shown you guys these, but put them in. This is my morning painting from Cascade. And Bob and I had the pleasure of having a young lady stop on her walk and actually pose for us, in the water there for a little while. So he and I both have paintings of her name is Dominique. But, it was real nice, just kind of jokingly, I mentioned to her that, she could just stay there and we would paint her. And she said, okay. I was like, okay, fine. And then this is the afternoon painting. I was sitting out on the rocks and, painting a slightly different angle. So, pretty loose, but again, it's fun to do, just get out there and work. Now, I'm probably going to work on this and clean it up a little bit more. In fact, I probably won't work actually on this painting. I may take a larger canvas and repaint this, but just use this as the foundation or the color study for it. So I like what the color is doing in it right now. And I just have to spend a little more time, defining shapes and edges and things like that. I think it could actually make a pretty decent painting in the end. So that's the value of going out and doing stuff like that. But that's kind of all I have.
Can you show us the picture of Cascade, the photo you had? Again, I'd like to take a picture of it.
You want me to just send it to you?
Yes, please. The
Yeah.
photo. Thank you.
Yeah, I can just, if you want me to, anybody else want me to send them photos from Cascade?
Yes.
Was that a yes, John?
That was I said, I guess not.
Oh, I guess not. I guess not. Okay. All right. So I'm just sending it to Eloise. All right. So I can do that. Anybody else got anything that we need to cover before we?
I won't be here tomorrow.
You won't?
No, doctor's appointment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Well, okay. At least you're not mad at us and just going away.
No, that's right.
So you'll be back. Okay, good. Yeah, tomorrow, like I said, I'm going through that process of painting that still life that I did last Thursday. And other than that, we're going to look at a couple of different artists. And I'm just kind of curious, before you go away. What did you guys think of the steampunk art that I showed you?
Yeah.
Boring to me.
Boring? Oh, okay.
I didn't particularly care for that style. I don't particularly care for.
Which one? Which piece? Which art?
The steampunk.
Steampunk.
Oh, that was sort of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting stuff. All right. Oh, wait a minute. I got one more thing to share with you, okay? I sent out an email. I don't know whether everybody got this or not, but This is about how to get to Heritage Park. Did everybody get this PDF?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, everybody kind of read directions, see the big red arrow, the, drop off part, the parking part, where the bathrooms are, yada, yada, yada.
Mhm.
Okay, good. All right. And again, I'll remind you for people who came in late, the brush lady is going to be there tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but on Thursday. And so she'll have lots of brushes, probably some paint and different tools and stuff like that. So, she's going to be there from 11:30 to, or I'm sorry, no, 11 to 12:30. Okay. Sound good?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anybody got any questions? Anything we need to talk about? How to solve the problems of the world?
I thought we did that today.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Did we come down to any concrete solutions?
People just have to wait and see what happens.
Yes, I guess so. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of that, it seems. But yeah. And just to give you an update, I talked to Veronica's daughter yesterday about going out to Life College. And she seemed happy and enthusiastic about it. She's taking it to the next level, and they're supposed to get back to me in email
Yes.
with whatever we need to do. Okay. And so as I find out, I will let you guys know. All right.
Right.
Okay.
So
All right.
the schedule for our weekly plein air classes will be delayed. I'd like to know ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, until then, like this week, we're going to be at Heritage, right? The following week, we'll probably go out and we'll try to go to the upper park in Morgan Falls, and I'll probably try to bring that still life back out for everybody to try, if that's what you guys are interested in doing. Probably the week after that, I'm going to try to find somewhere down in Atlanta, probably toward Bobby Jones Golf Course. There's a restaurant out there, and the ridge that we can paint from, overlooking the skyline of Atlanta. So yeah, I'm trying to come up with some different places. Okay, and I'll try to give you guys at least a week or so heads up until I hear back about Life College, and then we'll try to go there. So, and if you guys have any other suggestions, places you might want to go or whatever, let me know. All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well.
all right, take care, everybody.
All right.
Thank
you all.
See you tomorrow.
Have a good day, everybody.
Yes.
Bye-bye.